So I went from having a fat ass house. I had to downsize to an apartment because I had to make that YouTube money stretch.
Most of these people are broker than if they were working a regular job.
The reality of being a content creator with over 200,000 followers is I'm broke.
I went from making, I would say, an average of like 60 to like 120,000 a month just on Twitch. Went from like 60 to 40 grand a month, then 20 grand a month, then 10 grand a month, and then I had a month where I made 2 grand a month.
Influencers are going broke. At their peak, these creators were pulling in tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And now, they're barely making rent. How on earth is that even possible? Oh wait, I know how.
I spent thousands of dollars to spend the day at the Beverly Hills Hotel with my friends, and we're here. I've stayed here like 25 times and I always stay in a bungalow, but these days I got a cabana at the Beverly Hills Hotel pool. It was $2,500.
Most influencers live in a financial fever dream. They treat a high-income month like a permanent salary instead of a temporary spike. They throw money around like a hot potato at a kid's party, desperate to unload it before doing something boring, like, I don't know, saving it.
I get on here complaining that how y'all have to go back working a 9 to 5 because you started hauling and spending money like your ass is Dwayne Wade.
Hold on, how's she driving? She must be driving with them knees.
Or some Why, if you starting to get a $4,000 check, you think, oh, let me go get me a high rise in an expensive ass city.
Take the case of Tara Lynn.
Yeah.
She once mentioned pulling in $350,000 in a single month.
This past October, I would make like 100 to 150K a month. So now it's like 350 a month.
With that kind of income, most people would immediately retire. You could invest in dividend stocks to secure a yearly income or live off the monthly interest in a high-yield savings account. The options for growth are endless. But Tara didn't do any of that. Instead, she ended up effectively flat-out broke. And as you can imagine, the internet had no sympathy for her.
What the hell do you want us to do about the fact that you're going broke because you couldn't budget your $10 million a year that you made and you spent it all on a mansion and did an extra $1 million in renovations that you didn't need? And last time I checked, you also had bought a house in New York. It was an apartment, but like most people can't even afford one home. You've had 2.
The sad reality is that many of these creators are financially illiterate. And can you blame them? We were never taught about money in school. We all remember that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That was practically tattooed on our brains. But nobody mentioned taxes, debt, or compounding interest. These influencers are young, they get swept up in the LA lifestyle, and they simply blow it all away.
Did y'all see that video of that girl asking how all the OG influencers were making $30,000 to $50,000 a month and now they're broke and e-begging on TikTok?
That's ridiculous.
Like, what happened to all that money? So as somebody who accumulated over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube back in 2015, and I was literally living in LA, so I witnessed a lot of this, I'm gonna give you guys the breakdown on what happened with that money. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but just what I've seen. When I moved out there, I thought I was pushing it with my $2,000 one-bedroom apartment, but I had people living in the same building, just at the top floor. I was on the 3rd floor, but they were at the top floor paying $20,000 a month. And then I had some friends that lived in mansions just for the sole purpose of wanting to be able to throw parties and have people come over and make content in there. Literally paying people's yearly salaries, like $30,000, $40,000 a month just to rent this huge house. So for those of you that were also wondering, like, why do a lot of these influencers have big houses, but they're empty? Not even joking, to get some good quality furniture in there, it's gonna cost you like $500,000. And don't even get me started on their Uber ego. It's like people reach a certain amount of followers and all of a sudden they can't use Uber X. Ew, we can't pull up to this party in a Prius, order an Uber Black. Why would we spend $250 to pull up to a party when we could spend $19.99? Half the cars that you see these people whipping around are rentals and they're spending like $300, $500 a day just to whip it around and try to act like they're somebody they're not. Babe, just because you hit 200K doesn't mean you need to go and get a C300 from Mercedes. Like, it's okay, you can drive your paid off Toyota. Maybe 1 out of 10 of my friends actually cooked their meals at home. Everybody was constantly going out to eat or hiring private chefs. When you start making all this money, a lot of people tend to forget that it might stop one day, so they're still going on these expensive vacations, buying all this designer, even if it's starting to dwindle, because they literally got used to that lifestyle. More or less, a lot of these people ran through their money trying to look cool. That's it. And now they're begging for galaxies and cowboy hats.
That's exactly what happened to Stable Ronaldo. At his peak, he was raking in massive amounts of money streaming on Twitch. But when his income declined, so did his social life and his entire circle of friends. It's a sobering story of just how fast things can change in this industry.
I went from making, I would say, an average of like 60 to like 120,000 a month just on Twitch for like a good year and a half. And then right as it started to decline, it went from like 60 to 40 grand a month, then 20 grand a month, then 10 grand a month, and then I had a month where I made 2 grand a month. Like I just,
how are you okay seeing those numbers?
So I wasn't. I was spending around, I lived in LA at the time alone. And obviously my numbers go down, friends stop hitting you up, certain people, like friends I thought I had, like, you know, aren't my real friends, family, like different type of thing, past relationships, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot that happened, but I lived alone and I had my rent. My rent was like $5,000 a month at the time. Talaria, by the way, in Burbank. That place is $5,000 a month, and I lived in. It was the worst ever. I loved living there low key, but it was not worth it. But I was paying like $5,000 a month, and then my expenses, like when I would go shopping, I'd get depressed shopping. People do that, or like buy food or whatever. I was spending more than I was making a month.
Okay, so it's clear some creators are just irresponsible with money, but others are trapped in niches that require constant spending just to stay relevant. The disaster begins the moment their spending outpaces their income. If we look at the car community on YouTube, Hoovy's Garage is the perfect example of this. Tyler Hoover is known for buying unreliable cars and documenting the fallout with humor. The problem is, he has to up the ante in every video just to keep people from clicking away. What he didn't realize was just how much he would eventually owe in taxes for every one of those purchases.
So about a month has gone by since I walked through and said goodbye to all of those cars, and in the meantime, I had a guess on how much taxes that I owed, and it turned out, I guessed very, very wrong. I owe about double what I thought, over $500,000. So I'm gonna have to sell a lot more cars and have sold a lot more cars.
$500,000 in debt? That's a mortgage on a house you can't even live in. But other creators have suffered worse fates. Take Tall Guy Car Reviews. He built his following by showing off his move from a Hellcat to a Lamborghini, making everyone think he was living the ultimate YouTube success story. But in 2022, it all started to crash. It came out that he'd filed for bankruptcy and actually had to sell the rights to his own brand. Before long, the famous cars were gone, he stopped uploading, and the channel just kind of faded away. But this problem isn't limited to the car world. We're seeing the same thing happen with beauty and fitness influencers.
This, my friends, is Australian influencer Christy Swaddling. She has over 121,000 followers on her Instagram, where she flaunts her luxurious lifestyle, her designer bags, expensive cars.
Come with us to get our new car. Girl, that's expensive.
She has followers worldwide wishing they could be like her, live like her, carry Louis Vuitton handbags and Prada, drive around in muscle cars. The kind of content that she posts might seem cute and funny and relatable, but it actually denotes the uncomfortable truth that far from living the luxurious influencer lifestyle that you're led to believe, Christy is literally broke.
While rich influencers lose everything by overspending, most creators never even reach that level of wealth. They are stuck in a constant grind for followers, views, and brand deals. It can be overwhelming and it rarely pays off.
Sometimes I feel like I'm never going to achieve my goal or my dream of becoming a full-time social media influencer or content creator because of my financial situation, and it gets really discouraging because it's almost as if you can't or you shouldn't work so you can actually dedicate like a full 40-hour work week to just pursuing content creation, creating content, posting it, all of that. And it's almost as if you have to like be married to somebody who is rich, or you don't have to work in that relationship, or you have parents that can provide for you, and it's really hard if you're providing for yourself. And like it just makes me sad because like it always feels so far away because all the expenses built
But guess what? She gonna get the views she's looking for by crying on camera. I ain't gonna lie.
up, and I have to put content creation on the side to take care of business, and it just makes me so sad.
Some creators have amassed nearly 1 million followers, but still require a day job to pay their bills. They're beginning to realize that the so-called rich influencers they're trying to emulate are often faking their success just to stay relevant.
I think all these influencers are lying about being rich. I've almost had 1 million followers. Broke as well, not broke, but like I go to my regular minimum wage job every single day, 5 days a week, clock in. That's how I pay all of my bills. Is that my thing? I did my taxes and I only got 3 brand deals this year, each for $2,000, which works out to like $500 extra a month. Amazing, gorgeous. I can never be happier. But I'm just saying $500 a month is not livable, you know, like, but I am super grateful for it. But I'm saying that's all that I got. Like, if like you could see, you know. And I think just these influencers are lying to you. I think because they're either trying to sell you a course or tell you how great their life is after, you know, you've insulted them. But there's nothing up here. I'm up here now with everybody else, and I'm telling you that there is nothing up here. And the is this?
Okay, maybe you can argue that follower counts aren't everything these days. It's the views and engagement that make you money. But in reality, creators are entirely at the mercy of the platforms they post on. TikTok, for example, won't pay creators a cent unless their videos are over a minute long. Some creators also believe that they get paid less because of their race.
The reality of being a content creator with over 200,000 followers is I'm broke. I go viral literally every single week. Every week. I got like over 8 million views this past month. I have like loyal fans, you know, but I'm just like, yo, I had $101 in my bank account yesterday. Last month, the Creator Fund paid me like $70 because I make a lot of short form videos that aren't over 1 minute long. And I'm gonna keep saying this, like, people are not paying Black creators. I have verified companies and businesses commenting on my videos trying to be relatable. And it's just like, you guys won't pay me. Like, it gets to a point, I'm getting like really frustrated because this has
I'm Black, hopefully,
been my career for a while. Like, I used to make a lot more money on social media, and I feel like as my platform grows bigger and bigger, people get this idea that like, you must be doing very, very well, like even better than before. And I'm just like, dude, what?
On other platforms, your income changes depending on your niche. But even if the money is good, the rules can change overnight. A single copyright strike on an intro song can demonetize your entire channel in seconds. Without a backup plan, your income disappears instantly.
So I went from having a fat ass house, I had to downsize to an apartment because I had to make that YouTube money stretch. This is when I was like on 9 to 5s. I told myself I would never get a 9 to 5 because I was making so much bread on YouTube. I'm like, hell nah, 9 to 5 not for me. Like, I'm not working no job. Hell nah, I just graduated high school. I'm not going to college. I don't need college. I'm making 15, 20K a month. Let's really get into it. Cause y'all know the internet is talking. The internet is talking. So yes, I went broke for maybe a year and a half. Because that happened to me. So here I am. I ain't went to college. I wasn't working a job.
Goodness gracious.
I'm depending on 2K a month off YouTube because that was the only bread I had after they snatched my money away. So, do y'all see how that can like really fuck up somebody's life? Like, they took the money away. So literally, my revenue on YouTube went from 15K to 2K, bruh. Yes, because I was using the intro. So, right? So around this time, YouTube demonetized my videos. That's when my life came at a stop. Like, I was dependent on YouTube money. That was like my main go-to. So when YouTube snatched my money for using that sample instrumental, even though my voice was on it, even though I low-key mixed up the beat, they still snatched my money.
It's no wonder we're seeing influencers quit social media and return to 9 to 5 jobs. One creator admitted that she quit because the financial instability was too unbearable.
This is my story of why I decided to quit being a full-time influencer after a year and get a job in corporate America. And I wanted to share this because I feel like being an influencer is such a, I don't know, kind of like coveted job right now, or at least people are really interested in what it actually means to be a full-time influencer. And I don't know, I just want to give you guys kind of like a look behind the curtain. So I've been in the social media game since 2016, really just fell into it very serendipitously. Honestly loved it. I did it all throughout college, and then I decided to go full-time after about a year or so post-grad. I was like, may as well try and do this thing. And after a year, I was like, you know what? I just don't think that this is for me. So reason number one why I decided to not be a full-time influencer anymore is honestly money. This came down to stability and my long-term goals, and I felt like I could just reach those financial goals quicker if I wasn't an influencer, essentially freelance, and I just had a very stable and traditional job. I honestly think that in order to be a full-time influencer or just working freelance in general, you have to be very savvy with your money. Like, you have to be financially responsible because your income will ebb and flow so much. I had months where I made more than I ever thought was even imaginable from sponsorships, and then I would have months at like the start of the year or just, you know, like during those dead times where I would honestly have like maybe one sponsorship and I didn't really have any money coming in.
Yeah, it's very, very fickle. As she's saying, you can't just be, it's kind of, can't rely on it for the most part.
So I'd have to be really smart with my finances and just like budget everything to a T. I also may have jumped into being a full-time influencer sooner than I wanted to, and I had to bust my ass to honestly make as much money as I wanted to every month. I was taking on, I'm not even joking, like 12 sponsorships a month just to make ends meet.
Relying on 12 sponsors a month is like running on a treadmill you can never get off. At that point, every video you post has to be an ad. But if you turn your brand into a 24-hour infomercial, your long-term credibility could suffer. After all, if every product is supposedly the best you've ever used, the audience stops trusting you. Eventually, your influence fades and the sponsors disappear, leaving you broke and burnt out. So what is the lesson in all of this? It sounds like to survive long-term, creators have to build a brand first, not just a portfolio of sponsors. This requires winning over an audience with a unique personality or skill set before ever trying to sell a product. It's a grueling process that doesn't pay off in the short term, but it is the only real path to lasting success.
Here's why your favorite influencers that you want to trade lives with probably aren't living as lavish of a life as you actually think. For starters, most people think that you just make money by posting your life on Instagram and TikTok. But in actuality, they don't really pay you anything, maybe pennies on the dollar for views. And there's a huge difference between followers and customers. Now, how your favorite creators actually make money and create a life of freedom for themselves is by creating a personal brand. You see, you create a personal brand where you have a certain demographic or audience that resonates with what you have to say or what you're exuding to the world. Then people get to know, like, and trust you enough to buy your product and service that you're pushing to the audience, and that's how you actually make money.
Yeah, he's spitting. That's where the real money is. That's what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? All these views, but they ain't paying nothing. There's a little money you could just spend on like a tea or coffee. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah.
Having a personal brand is probably the biggest asset that you could own in 2026, because once you've cultivated that community and you have something that resonates to a mass audience, then you can create your own business on top of that and sell to people that you're trying to help, and then it's your own. You see, that's where I realized a few years ago that like influencing wasn't for me, but creating a business and a personal brand was. See, I wasn't trying to look cool on social media or get a bunch of views, but I was trying to resonate with a certain audience and help as many people in a positive way as I could. Just by being authentic and consistent, fast forward 4 years later, and I've been able to scale a 7-figure company all through my personal brand.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like a course is coming. He trying to sell a course. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
And no, it's not all roses and butterflies. There's a lot that goes into it between employees, customers, financing, systems, insurances, everything in between that you could think of, and every day there's some type of a fire. But I wouldn't want it any other way, and I truly do feel extremely blessed for the life I've been able to build for myself. So the next time you see your favorite influencer get all these views or all these likes, think about a personal brand in the end and see what they're actually doing. And then maybe you might not want to emulate their life because it's just all fake.
Once a brand is established, creators can take on sponsorships, but the most successful eventually pivot from selling other people's products to launching their own. They leverage the trust they've built to create income streams they actually control. But even at the top, longevity comes back to financial responsibility. Success only sticks around if you can resist the urge to waste the money the moment it arrives.
So a lot of these influencers and people nowadays, they take their quick little money, they spend it all, they're not investing correctly, they don't have the right team, and they have a Lambo and then they're broke in 6 months. And you're like, oh, well, did you need that car? Because you didn't have that car 6 months ago. So I invested into the brand, created 150 liquid lipsticks, you know, and I just kept making new categories of things that I loved. I've never created something for the customer. I create things for me and the customer.
Do you know how many income sources you have?
That's an interesting one. Well, let's see. We have Feastables. We have a company where we dub channels, which runs our Mr. Beast Espanol. And we have Mr. Beast Gaming, Beast Reacts, merch. Honestly, I'd have to like open my bank account and look through it. We built this app. We had people put their finger on the app. I'd reinvest everything. Literally, all I want to do is make the best food as possible. Yeah. That's why I live in the studio right over there. Like, I'm not worried about paying for.
Mr. Beast is a different thing, man. All he do is YouTube, bro. He's like the Lil Wayne of YouTube. He don't want to do nothing else but YouTube. So you can't compare yourself to Mr. Beast. Let's just keep that a buck. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is like a one-of-one.